For it is he that they fear, not man, or his armies. They fear the mark of the beast.
If Michelangelo would have painted the 16th chapel in blood, or if Beethoven composed his music to the sound of breaking bones, something very much like a Doom Eternal combat encounter would have been created. Doom 2016 gave new life to an almost forgotten series. Its software had struck gold. In a world where the bloody cut screen and regenerating shields had taken over first-person shooters, the developers had the demon balls to go back to health and armor like the classics way back when. You think this would lead to the player being very careful in engaging any hellspawn, not going into close combat and taking pop shots from cover, like this is Gears of War. Don't fret, as they found a very good solution to this problem: violence and a chainsaw. Resource management in this game is done through 1. Glory kills, used to regain your health, and 2. Chainsaw kills to replenish your ammunition. Glory kills can be used on any enemy after you weaken it enough. They're super fast and super brutal, not disrupting the flow of the combat. Same can be said about your chainsaw. It's a one button kill, but requires fuel to be used. The bigger the demon, the more fuel is needed. Combine that with an awesome and unique enemy design and a more interesting than thought story that gives you the choice how much you engage with it, and you get one of the finest games of 2016. So, what to do for the sequel? You hypercharge everything.
There is only one dominant life form in this universe, and it carries a steel-barreled sword of vengeance. Welcome home, Great Slayer.
Hell has invaded Earth and is about to win the eternal war, if not for the very angry Marine in his freaking flying fortress of doom. The game is faster, more brutal, and there are many classic, newly designed hellspawns to thin out with your ever-growing arsenal. Each map, including a base, is chock full of collectibles, be it music, minifigures, or tokens used to unlock new upgrades, skins, and everything else any self-respecting Doomslayer would want. The gameplay loop is completed with a shoulder-mounted flamethrower, giving you armor and a grenade launcher to either destroy or slow down foes. Special shout out to my boys, the Marauders, who single-handedly changes the way you have to engage combat, demanding high reflexes at middle range or you get punished for your trouble. A lot of people online can attest to that.
Top 10 video game enemies who ruined everything.
The difficulty curve of the game's campaign is perfect, always raising the stakes without making you feel like you're not in control. To be perfectly honest, this game is as close to a character action game like Devil May Cry as a first-person shooter can be. Always making you circle through your weapon wheel to deal with the enemies in a perfect sequence, to stylishly never stop killing the baddies. The only thing they probably will never get quite right is the boss fights. They weren't that great in 2016, and here they range from a platforming sequence in the Car Maker to an overhyped challenge room in the Icon of Sin. The DLC is even worse in breaking up your gameplay fun, but more on that later. The game is bursting with stuff to do, discover, and without a doubt one of the games of 2020 to play if you have any love for shooting things. I don't know how you could improve the formula in the future, it's that close to perfection. The last shoutout for 2016 and Eternal is based upon the feeling of needing to sing the praise of the soundtrack by one Mick Gordon. The OST makes you feel like you're born to slay demons and spells aggression with heavy guitar riffs and droning beat, effortlessly dynamically going along with the action. There are video essays by much smarter people detailing why Mick is a genius and how much love and shoutouts to the history of the series is put in his work of art. So just believe me, it ranks in the highest order of gaming. Hit me with the copyright strike, YouTube. Mwah.
Your reckless mission ends now.
So, that brings me to the Curse of the Old Gods DLC Part 1. Now listen, this is complaining on a very high level. Eternal is a 9 to 10 out of 10 game, and this DLC is not bad, it's just not as good as the base game. First, the difficulty. As it is said after the events of the campaign, it starts the experience on the level of the base game, and it takes it even further beyond. The problem? At the peak of the campaign is the sweet point where the encounters are as difficult as the game can be without being unfair. In this they overload the room with so many super heavies, it happens all the time. You start to actually need to run away to search for cover and resources. This not only breaks up the best thing about Eternal, the combat flow, but more often than not leads to death from out of your sight or being blocked to death by the big enemies. This doesn't feel like you're not good enough, but takes the control away from you. Something no Doom guy should ever feel like. Nothing captures this more than the new enemy type, the Spirit. This blue menace possesses the strongest enemy possible and buffs it to be twice as fast, hit harder and shoot faster, often forcing you to run away from the demon, which is really an unholy feeling. And even when you kill the enemy, you have to destroy the Spirit with the microwave beam of the plasma rifle, or the Spirit will take hold of the next mightiest foe available. Of course, you have to just stand there for a few seconds with your beam, pretty much getting gang raped by a barrage of bad guys. Yes, I hate spirits more than totems and archvals, and that says something about them. As for the boss fights, I liked the cube battle, as it was more of a challenge room than still allowed for the normal gameplay loop, only with the added target to destroy the barrier blocking your way. Dying here felt like my skill failed, not the design. The final boss, however, oh boy, it's probably the lowest point of Eternal as a whole, combining spirits with finicky platforming and precision headshots. I get that they wanted to break up your routine and test your skills in an unknown environment. Not unlike the Marauder, only not as good or isolated, but for me it is more important that an encounter is fun, not so much if it is difficult. I hope they realize this isn't the experience people want and don't tweak the formula for the sake of innovating alone. Even if the final reveal kinda already makes the threat to the next final boss, that could be very frustrating.
We must move quickly. There are those who would seek to stop this. You are nothing but a usurper. A false.
Replaying Eternal, however, will always be a blast. A nigh perfect experience that will stand the test of time. I'm serious here, I easily could play it every year. It's so much fun, it doesn't get dull. You know, get out there. The only thing they fear is you.